I'm going to interject in this one time between because you're like, oh no, not more periodic table poems, what? But I was going to share with you in this latest installment of Poetic License two poems for one periodic table poem that appear not only in the Down in the Dirt issue collection book Instant Karma, because sometimes you need instant karma, trust me. So I thought this was the coolest thing for a cover, but I'm like, no, that's going to be too busy. I can't even put a title on it. But it was just a cool image because instant karma is, I don't know, it was a good name for it. And so I said, we're going to have that for a cover. But these are periodic tables and poems, and this first one's not only in instant karma, but it is also in periodic table poetry. I feel like the book lady crazy showing off all of my books, but just so that you guys are prepared for it, this is the poem that is titled for number 20 in the periodic table, and it's titled Calcium. The media shoves it down your throats now. It's important to have calcium, especially women. Make sure you don't get osteoporosis and take calcium. Drink an extra glass of milk each day. It's healthy. And you know, I take my supplement and I have to take 2 calcium pills daily just so I can say I've ingested that USRDA, it's what they say I should consume, but I'm sure those pills barely get absorbed. So I should at least eat more cheese, since as an infant at 6 months I rejected milk, and I can't understand why it's smart to drink milk from another species as an adult when no other species does that, if it ever does the same. But really, the more I think about it, the more I wonder. Adults didn't suffer with osteoporosis before the 1700s. Was osteoporosis not diagnosed because they didn't know how to diagnose it? Or was it not diagnosed because no one had it? And if it didn't exist before, then what changed in our society to make osteoporosis, porous bones, a real concern for so many people as they get older? Just watched a documentary recently that advocated a plant-based diet. They even had a segment showing how global promotion of meat consumption so that you could have enough protein in your diet. And the documentary showed how China had lived for millennia without excess red meat or processed food in their lives. And now, with dietary modern luxuries in China, along with new record high for heart attacks, youth are now interviewed in the streets of China and they're asked why they need to eat more meat. They all said, for protein. And so it makes me wonder how vegetarians can do it, or how vegans with a plant-based diet can get enough calcium into their bodies to save them from those decay and the bone decay and osteoporosis. So, as I looked into how to get calcium, I found that on Earth it's seldom alone, but is chiefly found in sedimentary rocks. And over the years, us humans have even used calcium in construction. Makes sense if we need calcium so we can have stronger bones. Calcium carbonate is used in concrete as and mortar, lime and limestone, and it can even take part in glass manufacturing. I mean, when researching this, I found that calcium is even used as a refractoring agent when you're extracting for other elements like uranium, zirconium, or thorium. It's a deoxidizer sometimes. It's even used as an alloy agent in the production of aluminum, beryllium, copper, lead, and magnesium. Then again, calcium arsenate is an insecticide. Calcium carbonate can be used for acrylic torches. Calcium chloride, in addition to its other uses, can even provide body to car tires. Calcium hydrochloride disinfects swimming pools. Calcium phosphate is used in animal feed, and calcium is a food additive in vitamin pills. Which brings me to calcium in the body, because 90% of all of the calcium, of all of our calcium, is in our bones and teeth, which is we want to always keep strong. And some wonder if there's a link between too much calcium, like twice the USRDA, and testicular cancer. But hey, I'm just worrying about getting enough calcium in my diet in the first place, you know, to ensure that I won't get osteoporosis, much less rickets or having difficulty with blood clotting. And while researching this, I found an additional place for getting calcium. egg shells. Yes, literally grinding them up to add to your diet can give you lots of calcium. But what are looking for ways calcium is used? Here's what I was learning. Here's where the learning jackpack paid off for me with food and health. When making cheese, calcium ions influence the activity of renin to activate and actually make the milk coagulate. So, seeing this bonus application for calcium in the pizzatarian's favorite food, cheese, it then made me wonder if this plant-based diet can actually provide enough calcium. And it really made me feel good to know that although cow milk, i.e. drinking the lactations from another species as an adult, is an excellent source of calcium, soy milk and other vegetable milks are fortified with enough calcium to make them just as rich in calcium and alternatives as milk from any other animal. I know, calcium and its ions are used in a ton of different things, but I'm stuck on this obsessing over my bones thing right now. And granted, calcium carbonate, that stuff that also aids in the creation of acrylic torches, is the same form of calcium in diet supplements. And I do make a point to take them twice daily with food, but it just made me smile to learn that a doctor in a study found that as women got older, if they took calcium supplements, they tended to, on average, to gain 5 pounds less than other women. Granted, that doctor even said that he'd really be going out on a limb to think that weight loss with calcium supplements, but I'll take whatever I can to help me laugh out of the coincidence. And hey, even though this relatively non-toxic calcium can be hazardous as calcium metal found in cleaners, and taking too much calcium carbonate as in antacids like Tums can lead to serious health problems, doctors have still found that enough calcium may seem to prevent some cancerous polyps. So, yeah, even though we found a ton of other uses for this element, I'm sticking with possibly dairy, for the pizzatarian, and definitely vegetable sources, and getting this vital element into my extended bones. It was a long one for calcium. I read this at WZRD radio in Northeastern University. I believe I told Lorna about that. And then there was for a while a thing that was called Poetry Saloon at noon. And this happened to be, I see Fala there. This happened to be when I had burned my hands. So my hands all wrapped up and I was reading about calcium, ergo the supplement pills, when I was doing a show. And I hope they liked it. But anyway, that was my calcium supplement poem, but I'll do one other really, really short one that is not only in Instant Karma, the Down in the Dirt issue collection book that's been most recently released, but also in the Twitterverse periodic table poetry book. It's a short one for calcium. It's called Calcium, Osteoporosis, and Meat. Historically, osteoporosis wasn't even recorded until after humans added more meat into their diet. Our riches afford it, so continue our gluttony until all the excess protein pulls the calcium away from our bones, where we and our bones pay the price. I will not show you any images from readings because I did that earlier today, but I am going to go on. I believe that it would go to, because Lorna was up, that John would be next, and then it would be Richard and then Susan. So if you guys are all set, I would love to hear from each and every one of you. John, are you ready, my darling?